coming.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I have the legendary Tiffany West. Used to be Tiffany Khan.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
You're very influential to a lot of women, even like women that like Simone, that just got deemed legendary. You know, she said you were like the first person she's seen in the ballroom scene that inspired her to walk.
Yes.
So, still being that you're still young, but you're like in this space where you have now inspired multiple generations. So that's just real special right there. I really value your outlook on ballroom because, you know, not only are you a cis woman, you're a Latino woman.
Yes.
You're very respectful of everybody like that I've seen you come in contact with. So I really want to get to know you a little bit better. So first tell me like where you're from and how did you first get introduced to ballroom?
Absolutely. So I'm from Columbus, Ohio. We're just Buckeye Nation, if you would put it that way. I started ballroom in high school. My best friend, his name was Dwayne. He took me to my first ball. I ended up telling my mom that I was going to my best friend Tammy's house, and we ended up going to Indianapolis or somewhere like that. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. It was so late, and it was like a little hole in the wall. And I just remember hearing a beat, and he pretty much was just telling me like, there's gonna be something different, but you're gonna love it. And plus, I was a dancer, so I was like, all right, let's see what it gives. And I just remember Selvin was on the mic that night, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just watching the ball and, you know, just like enjoying and soaking up everything that's going on because there's so much going on. And I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I know it's a lot going on, you know, but I loved it.
Like a lot of us at our first ball.
Yeah, I was just like, like this is like, it was like an adrenaline rush. And I will never forget Selvin out of nowhere was like, he was like, who is this girl? And I'm just like, and he just grabs my hand, he lifts me up, and he starts twirling me around, and he's just like, give this girl her life. And he was like, she should walk face. And I'm just sitting, I didn't know what to believe. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And I was addicted ever since. And I kept going to balls pretty much like every time I could. So.
And what type of dancer were you growing up?
I first started out doing ballet for years, and then I did modern. Once I got older, probably around like maybe 10, 11, I started doing Afro-Caribbean, plena bomba, like a lot more African influenced dances, just because my mom was like really, she really wanted me to learn that aspect of dance, especially because it came from our culture. Her being Puerto Rican, like plena bomba was something that she grew up learning and dancing. So that salsa merengue, like everything that you can think of, I pretty much did. Tap, I think I did like 1 year.
That's a very wide range of stuff, like to go from ballet all the way to like Caribbean dance. It's almost like I said, complete opposite. Like to where ballet is so like restrictive.
Yes,
and
so disciplined.
Like, so disciplined.
Yes.
Like, from what I understand, it's not even about the dance, it's about the diet, nutrition, everything.
It was a commitment that at the time I didn't understand it, and I just didn't really care for, you know. I think I was just like, I just want to dance. And at that time when I was really dancing heavily, I was under a scholarship program, a minority scholarship program. So ballet was something I had to do. But I found, like, again, so much interest. We had one of the lady who was in charge of the scholarship program. She was an Alvin Ailey dancer. So, you know, everything that she learned, she taught us, you know, and I was a part of a core group that she was in charge of. So we performed at different high schools and different events. And that's what we focused on, was more like brown, black, you know, types of dances and stuff like that, which was amazing for me. So, yeah.
And that probably set the groundwork for you to be a sponge for ballroom. Once you to experience all those different cultures. So can you explain the difference between Afro-Caribbean dance and voguing? Like, what's the differences? How are they similar? How are they different?
I mean, with a lot of movements are very different. I feel like when it comes down to the same aspect, I feel like it's really the passion that you put into it. I feel like a lot of Afro-Caribbean movements are based on spirituality and based on, you know, divine self and really feeling yourself. And I feel like with voguing and just ballroom, you have to be able to get in tune with yourself, or to be able to embody that spirit or that element that you're trying to, you know, become, you know what I'm saying? So they're very similar when it comes down to that. I think if you're in a more spiritual aspect with ballroom, I think that you get that same type of like energy in a sense.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So once you got introduced to ballroom, like how did you, because I know you used to be a con, how did you migrate, like how did you even join your first house? And
well, my first house, it was like I didn't have a choice because I didn't know any better, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that I regret being a rodeo. I was a rodeo. And
they just kind of like scooped you up. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was like I had a gay mother, Theory, Legendary Runway, Gay Tay, rest in peace, from Detroit. That was my first gay mother, actually. And you know, Gay Tay was the one who really was the one that was like, we putting her rodeo. You know how the VG cut. That's what I miss about her, and I love her. But she was the reason why I became a rodeo, and Theory was the one that took me more under her wing, and I started doing hair shows for her because at the time she was doing hair school, and that's how my short hair came about and stuff like that. So, you know, it just kind of it just kind of merged into that. And then once I really started getting into it more and more, I had started seeing the Escadas, and the Escadas were the ones that I had wanted to be for a long time. And, you know, I was like, I want to learn the history of ballroom. Like, because when I saw the Escadas, especially at that time, like I said, I was probably like 18, 19 at that time. And I would see them out like in Detroit, everywhere that we would go. They was always there, but they was always together and like in a look and all this. And I was like, you know what? I want to be them. And I eventually reached out to Theory, and I was like, you know, I love y'all, and I know that you have the best interest in me and all this other stuff, but I was like, I want to be an Escada. And she was like, child, I don't care. So I was like, are you serious? And she was like, I want you to do what's best for you. She's like, you have done so much. Like, she's like, you doing runway shows for me. We doing hair, like, magazines. We doing all kinds of stuff. Like, that's where you need to be. So I ended up becoming an Escada. And a couple of months later, I ended up moving to North Carolina. And maybe like 6 months after that, I ended up becoming Mother Escada for North Carolina.
And I do remember you being an Escada.
Yes.
If I don't remember, like,
I got it tatted on.
I remember seeing clips of it. So
yes.
You got it tatted on you.
Yes.
It meant a lot.
It meant a lot. It did, and it still means a lot. You know, I feel like the House of Escada really was the house that really molded me. You know, they really created a lot of the woman who I am today, and who the woman I was at that time as well too. I would have never met Tracy, who was my God-giving father, you know. I would have never really learned ballroom, you know. I would have never had the name. I would have never had the experience. I would have never had that had it not been for Escada. And I'm very grateful for them. And I'm still very grateful for them. I love them. They get on my nerves, but I still love them, you know.
And even the rodeos, for them to be able to let you go like that had to be real family too.
Well, you know what? I think at the time, you know, I wasn't a rodeo that really came out as much. And I think at that time too, you know, it was a different generation for women in ballroom. A lot of times, you know, women would come, walk one ball, and you would never see the girl again. I was just not that girl, you know? So I think that, you know, at that time, having women in a house was not a priority, and it wasn't like something that was like, oh, we got this bitch. You know, she might have been that bitch for the day, but then if she's right in front of you, realistically speaking, but outside of that, you're not thinking about her. That's how I felt about that.
Why do you think a lot of the women were like that back then? Like they just came out one time. Like did they receive like harsh treatment, or did they just like not feel at home, or do you even know?
I think sometimes you would. I think back in the day, either you brought your good girlfriend that was pretty to a ball, and if it was for some money, or they would prepare you. But I think coming from the Midwest, we didn't have a lot of girls like that. We didn't have a lot of women at all.
Yeah.
You know
Still
what I'm saying?
don't.
We still don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like how it is now. I feel like the first ball that a lot of women came out was the ball that I walked, which was women's performance at the Latex Ball. That was the first time that you saw more than 3 women walk that category that night.
I feel like it's better on in New York and LA.
Yeah.
Than in the Midwest. I hope that more Midwest girls come, wake up and come reap the benefits of being in Ballroom. But yeah, I'm glad that you at least wasn't one of those girls.
Nah.
Cause Ballroom, it could chew you up and spit you out if you let it.
Oh yeah. But I think sometimes you have to, in order to get that fire under you.
Preach.
Sometimes you have to have that, because in life, a lot of times people used to separate ballroom and real life, but a lot of the shit that you learn in ballroom is the same shit that you're going to deal with in real life. It's just different people, different settings, different environment, same shit.
So this next question, I could like cut it out if you don't want to answer it, but like your sexual orientation, I'm guessing you're heterosexual.
I'm pan. Have I pansexually experienced that? Not as much, but
You dibble and dabble.
I will dibble and dabble, yes.
So as far as like dating men, how like the men that you have dated, like once they find out that you're in Ballroom, like what is that question? Because I've always wondered that, and I'm never.
Oh you ready for this one? Oh, this is gonna make this interview's about to get real interesting. Oh God. First of all, once they see Legendary, that's the first question. That's the first question. They like, so what's this legend thing about? And then you have to explain it. You know, and then it first starts with the Instagram page because, you know, you got a lot of the girls and a lot of the jobs that I do are very LGBT based, which I am so proud of. I love what I do. That's why I post what I post. You know, so I'm whatever. But a lot of times, a lot of guys will think that I'm trans, which again, I have no problem with that because a lot of the women I find the most beautiful women in the world are trans women. So I'm like, okay. But then sometimes it becomes a lot of issue because it's not even just the ballroom. It's more so association. A lot of my clients are women of trans experience. They're my sisters. They're my best clients. They're a lot of my good friends. And a lot of people don't like that. But that's my life. That's what I'm used to.
So, like, basically, like, hetero and transphobic.
Hetero, transphobic. It's very much like it's either that or I remember this date stood out. This was like maybe a year and a half ago. And the guy was like, he brought it up. And he's like, you know, if I had a gay son, you know, it's already bad. And it's just like, at the end of the day, I was like, you know, what defines masculinity? What defines being a man is the question. And I let him answer. And he was a very well-educated man. You know, and he had solid, good points, but never once did he pull up sexuality. So I'm like, what does sexuality have to do with anything what we got going on? What does that got to do with you blowing my back out? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, has nothing to do with that. That's just my job. That's something that I choose to do on my spare time when I have time, because even the West will tell you, I don't have time for shit. You know, I'm always working. I'm a very work-focused type of person.
I can attest to that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm always working all the time. So I don't got time for that, you know. But I've run into a lot of situations where people. This is one story, and I told this on a the DC Ballroom Council.
Okay.
It was on Bigo. And I remember telling them, because they was asking about, you know, people in ballroom and their dating life, and they were like, you know, we never thought of like the fish and things like that. And I was like, there was one time, I will never forget this either. Again, last year. I was horny. I had a random hookup. It is what it is. No shade, no judgment. Okay, everybody do it. Fuck it. And, you know, he kept asking me over the phone, like, while he was coming, he was like, you sure you wasn't like, you weren't born a man? I'm just like, I'm trying to tell you, like, I was not. I'm like, when you see me in person, you will see. And mind you, I got baby pictures and shit on my wall. So I'm like, I got a bow, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't miss it at this point. Like, I mean, I got a birth certificate if you want to see. Like, I understand where you coming from, and I get it, and I respect that, you know, and whatever. And he wasn't being disrespectful towards, you know, trans women at all. But it was just like, I don't know what he went through, whatever. So he come over. You could already tell by us just fucking, it was already just off. Like, you could just tell it was like there was nothing in it. And then he go to the bathroom. He sit at the edge of the bed, and he like, you sure you was? And I'm just like, you know what? At this point, you got to get the fuck out of my house, because I'm like, you done asked me about 12 left. I'm done for letting you stay here and really like. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I don't know what it was. So know,
is that transphobia or homophobia like, let's say you're dating somebody and it's going really good. Let's say y'all in like maybe a month, but it's a hot and heavy month, and y'all like real cool, like y'all real tight, like you can see this actually going somewhere, but then you find out that he's transphobic or homophobic. Is that like a deal breaker, or how would you like navigate?
I knocked that out in the first conversations, to be honest with you. Yeah, because I already know with that's going to be a trigger. One thing I don't do is I don't tolerate disrespect in front of me, nor am I going to tolerate it behind closed doors for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, this community, more than my own Hispanic community and my family and things like that, my own personal biological family, they have pulled through for me in so many ways that in many times I never thought I deserved, but universally and spiritually I deserved it, and I'm very grateful for that. And I don't like, I would be stupid, like I would be really stupid to be with somebody like that.
Yeah, because it's such a big part of your life. Even if you're not in the balls, like every single ball, like you said, you still work with the community.
Yes.
You're still involved in the community.
It's not like and I tell people, I'm not expecting you to kiki, but you will respect them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and that's another thing too, there's only been one guy I actually took to a ball and he actually enjoyed, but that was because his brother was gay. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I'm not going to invite you to that, but if you want to go, you are more than welcome to come. But, that wouldn't be no different than me dating a basketball player. I'm not going to come to your games like that. I may come to one or two, but that's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's just like my personal thing,
yeah. I just always wonder, because it's just like, I'll be like looking at the women in the scene. I'm just like, what do her man say about her doing all of this?
I guess that's why I'm single. But it's okay.
Who isn't single these days? Even
I'm okay with that.
Single is single. So.
Okay, that's why I'm okay with that.
So, as far as like your love life, do you what do you do to try to are you even looking, or like what are your goals for that?
You know what? I don't at this point. I'm just allowing the universe to kind of just take over on that aspect for me. I'm just more focused on me and what I'm trying to do. I think that sometimes we tend to get focus on love, and we don't realize that sometimes we have to really love ourselves first in order to receive the type of love that we want.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, enough about that. I want to talk about this illustrious makeup career you have.
Yes.
I see, you've done a lot of good stuff, a lot of, amazing work.
Thank you.
Even myself, sometimes I'll find myself like on YouTube, like watching a makeup tutorial just randomly, and I'm just like amazed because it's literally like artwork.
Absolutely.
Like, I love seeing how they start off looking crazy, like those first few steps. You be looking like a fool, but then as you start to go, it's like a masterpiece.
Yes.
So what made you get into makeup, and what kept you going so strong at it to the point where you have done the things that you've done?
Yeah, well, I started makeup when I was young because I was a dancer. So my parents always bought me makeup, and every Christmas I would get them sets from CVS, Walgreens, and y'all know what I mean by them big sets every year. And then it wasn't until I got into college that, and even more it pushed, like Ballroom really pushed it, but I think college was really what pushed it because I was really into Ballroom, like heavily. And I was doing fashion shows at Ohio State and just doing all kinds of different things. And I one day was like, I got up and I was like, you know what? I'm dropping out of Ohio State. I was a dance major and I was like, fuck it. And I went to cosmetology school. I enrolled literally and that was it. You know, after everybody was just like, no, don't do that. You've been dancing your whole life. You're in Ohio State, And I'm just like, I want to just do hair. I want to do makeup. I want to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like I want more. But Ballroom really pushed that a lot, was that like it really made me want to do more outside of that. So, and luckily I had amazing teachers in cosmetology school that really like upped the game for me. So, yeah.
That's dope. So, I actually like that. I like when people can take their talents outside of Ballroom and, you know, just do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, to the other, maybe not the other women, because I think most of the women are like taking their talents outside of Ballroom.
Absolutely.
Maybe to like the, you know, the men of Ballroom and the trans women of Ballroom, just give some type of advice of how you can take your craft and make it into something.
You know, first you always have to find what you are passionate and what you love. And you know, not everybody are natural born educators, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like if you're able to teach yourself, you can teach others. I think it's all about, learning people as well too, to be able to make those types of connections, you know? Take advantage, especially now, you know, Ballroom back in when I started, we weren't on TV, we weren't on social media. You know, it was just Ballroom. You know, like no shade. It was just Ballroom. Yeah, you know, we didn't have that. You know, we barely even had clips. You know, so you know, you would have maybe but a handful of clips. So utilize the people that you have in your community. You know, to be honest with you, had it not been for Laomi, had it not been for Jack, had it not been for a lot of people, Honey Balenciaga, a lot of these jobs I would have never had. You know, I think it's all about who you are as a person as well, too. What you give is what you're going to get. And sometimes you don't even have to be the best at what you do. Sometimes people just gravitate to the person and the energy that you bring, you know, and that's what makes a person great and makes them be able to be successful in many different ways, even if they're not the best. You know, but utilize the people that you have, you know, the mentors, if there's people that you look up to, you know, I mean, I know that Jack is not the most accessible person these days, you know, because he's busy doing so much, which is amazing, but reach out to people, be like, hey, what are you doing that could help me in the future or like, you know, help me get to that next step. You know, for me, anytime I see somebody, I'm like, girl, next time you do a show, let me know, bitch. I ain't got no kids. I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have nothing holding me back. But I also feel like sometimes that's the biggest mistake that everybody makes. It's not even the networking or anything. It's not taking those steps. You know, fear is it's a lot more powerful than positivity. And that's what we fail to realize as humans is that. And your mind and how you think, even though I'm not going to say I have the perfect mindset, like I'm thinking happy all the time, but what you think is what you get out, you know? So sometimes you have to just kind of rewire, find yourself. And even if you don't find yourself, still take those steps to be able to find yourself. The best advice I ever got from, was an American designer. Her name is Cynthia Rowley. She said, they asked her in an interview, they said, what made you successful? She said that she never focused on one goal. The reason why is because sometimes when you're focused on one thing, you don't allow all the opportunities that are meant to get you to whatever goal or your universal goal or your spiritual goal that's really meant for you to be there. You're not allowing those because you're pushing it, because you're like, oh, well, bitch, I want to be a model. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not. Girl, I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? When you have that mindset and you push those things away, those are the things that are going to mold you to be the person that you're supposed to be. Yeah. When she said that, I kid you not, I literally, I stopped, I went to the bathroom, I became the cancer woman that I am, started crying, and I quit my job that day. And for that same company that I was working for, doing her makeup. And I was like, I'm not working for, I want to work for myself. I want to really push this, and really, because all my life has been all of those different opportunities that I allowed coming into my life. I didn't know what the fuck they were, but I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do cosmetics. I'll do the hair shows. I'll do this. I'll walk the balls. I'll do this. You want me to do that? Cool. You want me to be a mother? Boom, I'll do it. I took every opportunity, and it made me who I am. No regrets.
that is like some of the best advice. Like I said, that's not just for Ballroom. That's like life.
Yeah.
That's life. And that's something that just hit home for me, because I can actually identify with that in my own personal life. So, you have a lot of wisdom to give. Do you see yourself ever becoming a biological mother? Because you've already been a house mother. You have a lot of wisdom to give, a lot of knowledge to give. Is it important to you to even be a mother?
I'm already a mother with the kids that I have. You know, I have my handful of children that I talk to every day, that I maybe talk once a week to. You know, for years I never really wanted kids. I think when I hit my 30s, that's when I was like, oh, I kind of want kids. And now I see kids and dogs. I'm like, oh, I want them. But I think I kind of, you know, with the children that I have, they are such different versions of me and versions of myself that I love about myself. Sometimes there'd be versions I'll be like, oh my God, you are just so much like me. Stop being me. You know what I'm saying? But my fulfillment as a mother has been already kind of fulfilled, you know, like my need of that. You know, I have my kids who reach out to me like, Mom, I'm going through this, or, you know, just seeing even my children, you know, transition to becoming the adults that they are right now, you know, or, you know, just the performers that they're becoming, or the talent, or just the people that they're becoming. That to me has been so rewarding.
Yeah, I really appreciate your knowledge that you've given us. I love, you know, your outlook. Like, you've been in Ballroom since like the mid 2000s. So you've seen different generations come in, come out. Yeah, I just really appreciate having you here. So,
thank you.
Last question I got.
Yes.
Is describe yourself in 5 words or less.
Very stern. I find myself funny. Some people know me, they know. Caring, passionate, very fiery, and I'd say divine would be the last one. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the legendary Tiffany West.
I love y'all. Yes. Thank you for having me.